Hi guys, it's been a while since I posted, but in this video we're going to go over the Ignition Exchange resource I put on the Ignition Exchange platform a few days ago. It's called Modern Table. I spoke about it in my Discord channel, and you might have seen it on the Exchange. But today we're going to go over how to add it to your project, how to modify it, and just use it in your project. So first of all, as you can see here, I'm at the Ignition Exchange page. So if you go to inductiveautomation.com/exchange, that would be the location I'm at. Okay, I'm going to filter by category here. There are multiple ways you can find my resource, my first one, hopefully the first of many. Filter by mobile. I think I added a mobile tag. And then you can see this resource here called Modern Table that I posted a few days ago. It was approved by IA, so let's get started. Okay, I click on this resource here. I want to click the download button here, and let me go ahead and sign in real quick. Okay, there we go. I'm signed in. So if you don't have an account, create one. You can use the same account for the forum and for other stuff on their website. Okay, let me click the download button here, and it's going to download a zipped folder, and I'll show you the structure of that zipped folder here shortly. Let me see. Okay, here's my downloads folder on my computer, and there's this zipped folder that I downloaded today, and I'm going to unzip, or I'm going to extract this folder here, and then you can see a README. This is basically the instructions. I believe it is these instructions that I included here, and then a manifest file, and then inside this projects there's a modern table.zip. This is the file that I uploaded to Exchange. Let me extract this as well, and when you extract it, you'll see two files here. I'm going to go over what these files look like here in a second, but let's just copy these two files here. You see popins.css and style.css. Let's copy them over to our Ignition installation location. So all of these steps we're going to follow, I specify here, so you can follow along with the text version if that's better for you, or video format. Okay, let's open the Ignition installation location. If you're on Windows, it'll be most likely, if you chose the default installation, it'll be C program files on a 64-bit machine, inductive automation, Ignition. And then let's go to the data folder. Let's go to modules, com.inductiveautomation.perspective. And then the themes folder in this directory, as you can see, this is the full path here. The themes folder in this directory is what holds all of our CSS files. And you can see this is pretty much what you would have by default. You're not going to have light-animations. You're not going to have this directory, and you won't have this custom folder. But otherwise, what you see here is what you'll get by default with just a regular Ignition installation with the perspective module, of course. I added this custom folder. This is where I add all my custom CSS, or at least some of it. As you can see from a previous video, I have a video on using animate.css. That is this folder here. So let me explain the structure here real quick. These folders, or these files on the bottom, and you can see all of this information, by the way, if you open this README and read it carefully. These files on the bottom are entry points for the themes. So if you go to your designer and go to session properties, you can hit this theme session.props.theme, hit this drop down here, and you'll get all of your themes. So you can see I have light animations, light, dark, light, cool, and then they'll correspond to the entry point files you see here. So even though it's an entry point file, like I said, it's very minimal, as you'll see. Let's open up, for example, dark CSS. This is for the dark theme. Okay, if we open up dark CSS, we see that there's only one line in this file. We don't see any CSS. So, but if you look in the dark directory index.css, and you can drill down, so dark index.css here, then you'll see other imports, and then if you drill down far enough in these files, you'll see the actual CSS statements. Okay, another thing I want to mention here while we're here, these files, if you make changes to them, they will not be overwritten on an upgrade or just a restart of the gateway, I believe. They won't be overwritten, but if they're not there, they'll be created. However, any changes you make to the default folders here that correspond to the default styles, they will be overwritten. So for example, if you add files or custom styles into the dark theme here, they will be overwritten when you restart the gateway. So just be careful of that. This light animations folder and the custom folder, those are two folders that I added. So those will not be overwritten by the gateway. So just be careful. If you added some custom CSS and then restarted your gateway or updated a version, and then your custom CSS isn't accessible from the designer, this might be one of the reasons why. It tripped me up for a little bit. Okay, enough blabbering. I have this custom folder here. This is on my development machine at home. This is where I developed this modern table little project here. This is where style and pop-ins come in here. I'm going to remove these. Or let me actually rename them. That way, in case I need. In case I need to go back to the earlier version, although it should be the exact same. And then remember, we're copying from modern table, our zip, these two files. Let's go ahead and copy them. And then paste them in here. We'll continue. You need administrator privileges. So once again, I'm in themes. If you don't have this custom folder, just go ahead and add some sort of folder. I just named it custom. You can call it whatever you want, but you'll need to remember what you call it. Okay, so we have our style and our pop-ins files. These come from the Ignition Exchange. These are the resources if you extract deep enough. Okay, the last thing we need to do here is add a line of CSS to our entry point, to the entry point file of the theme we're going to use. So this should make sense here. If your session is set to light theme, you're going to modify light.css. If, for example, you're using light cool, you're going to modify this file here, light cool. All we're going to do is just add one line of code. So this should be simple enough. I'm just going to use the light theme, and because of that, I'll go to light.css here, open it up with the Notepad++. You can see that I already did this earlier because I have the single line of CSS that we're going to need to add already added. So as you can see, I told you that you need to remember the directory that you create and put your custom CSS files in, and this is why here. So you're going to need to add this line, and it's going to need to be formatted in a specific way using the @ symbol here, import, and then you can use single or double quotes, and it needs to terminate with a semicolon, and then your location. So if you named this folder something else, you would just put that in here, and then style.css would be the file you pasted in there. Okay, now all of that is done, we're not going to need to restart the gateway or anything like that. We just need to merge changes here. So you can either hit this button here, or you can do update project. It'll do the same thing. And now let's go to just a blank view. This is a flex container, my favorite type of container, as you may know. It's just, here's the session for this view. It's just a blank view here. Let's go ahead and add a table component to our view, and I'm going to make it grow. Oh, you can see I have padding here actually. So this is a view I've used in the past. I just deleted the table, so I kind of cheated. I have padding, but that's all I have configured right now. And then I'm going to make this table, actually I'll just leave it how it is. Okay, so this is the default table, and if we look in the session, you're all used to seeing this sort of table. It's very bland, if I can say so myself. I'm not a designer or anything like that, but even for me, it's kind of boring. Okay, so let's add our table, our modern table class. All you have to do at this point, if you added the file successfully, all you have to do is just add modern table as a class here for the table, and you can see that it changes here in the designer. Sometimes it won't change that quickly like it did for me, but when you save and then go to the session, you'll see that it did in fact change the table. Okay, so it's a different looking table. I'm not going to say it's nice or anything like that, or it's anything impressive, although I am proud of this table, obviously. If I post it on the exchange, hopefully you guys don't roast me. But one of probably the coolest feature of this table is not necessarily the colors or the style or anything like that, but that at a certain breakpoint we have a completely different look to this table here. We have, instead of flex row for each row, it converts to flex column, and then instead of having these column headers up on top, we have headers for each text here. Okay, so that's pretty much all that there is to adding this resource from Ignition Exchange to your project. Hopefully that was helpful. However, I would like to give some more examples. If you, for example, wanted to modify the colors, let's go ahead and look at how you would do that. So if all you needed help with was how to add this resource from Exchange to your own installation, and you can figure out the rest, thank you for watching this video. But if you want to stick around and see how you can modify the colors of this table, because it's not the prettiest colors, it's just purple and pink. I wanted something that would stand out and actually change the structure of how this card layout here looks like. Stick around here. So hopefully this won't take too long, maybe 5 more minutes of your attention. Okay, so first things first, let's change the color. That's the easier thing to do. Actually close the Ignition installation location. So let me find it again here. It'll be OS, or the C drive, my main operating system drive. It'll be 64-bit I installed a 64-bit installation of Ignition, so it'll be in program files, and then inductive automation here, Ignition, data, modules, perspective, themes, custom, and then, so let's take a look inside our two files, our two resources here. If you look in Poppins, all this does is just imports the Poppins font from fonts.google.com. So if you open this with Notepad++, it just has some CSS properties and statements that import different, the same font family, but different weights here, 100, for example, 200 here, and then bolder and different types of fonts. And then the other more interesting part of this mini project, would be the style.css file. Let's go ahead and open it with Notepad++. I found that this works better than using VS Code, just because maybe it's just my installation of VS Code, but it doesn't, for some reason, it doesn't grant administrative privileges to the installation location. So the reason why it does that is because the gateway is running and accessing the resources in this directory while we're also editing it, so you need administrative resources. Okay, so you'll see this file here, import Poppins. This is obviously optional if you want to use some other font, Roboto, or some fonts that are included with Ignition. You can obviously use that, but this is just, I wanted to show that you can use the Poppins font, and I like that font. Okay, I have these variables here. So hopefully these are descriptive. You're not going to need to look for, we're modifying colors, remember, you're not going to need to look through this CSS that I hacked out to find the colors that you need to change. So modern table header color, this is the purple color. This is actually a variable that's set by inductive automation, or that's set by the Ignition gateway, whatever you want to call it. And it's a variable that I use here, but you can set it to whatever you want. So Oh, okay, there we are. I have a palette here that I, for example, want to use, and say that I want to set this color here as my header color. So let me copy this. I'm just showing you how easy it is to modify or to extend the two files that you downloaded off the Exchange, and showing you how to modify those files. Okay, let's add this color here instead of the purple color. Let's say we want this aquamarine color. I don't know what to call it. Let's hit save here. You'll have to launch it in administrator mode, which I will do, and then hit save. And then if we go here, even if we save, nothing's going to change. If we look at our table, oh, it actually did change, because usually, or sometimes it won't. Usually you have to hit this merge icon here. I just found that it's pretty inconsistent. So if it doesn't change in the designer, you actually have to close the view and then reopen the view, and then usually the header here will change. So as you can see now, our updated view, it has this turquoise color instead of the purple color that it came with. Okay, so next what we want to modify is this on hover color. We don't want it to be pink. We want it to be this orange color, for example. I'm clearly not a designer. So let's look for something that has to do with hover. I forgot what I called it, but there it is, row background color hover. Hopefully that's self-explanatory. And then also save. And once you enable administrator mode, you're not going to have to do it again. So you can just hit Control S or hit the save button here, and then you'll see that the changes are automatically added to your gateway. Or if they don't, you just merge changes here, save, and then there you go. Then you have this orange color. And then when you change, hit the breakpoint, you also get the orange color, and it also highlights the entire row. You may be wondering why this one cell is styled orange. It's because the default table here in the data property, it'll have a style on the city with the background color. So you can remove this and then remove this as well. And then we can look and see that our table doesn't have that annoying orange row. Okay, so orange cell actually. So here our rows are being colored on hover. When you click them, they're still pink. So let's change that. Let's go back to our file here, table row text. It looks like it will be row background color. Oh, this is white. Okay. Row border bottom. As you can see, I already forgot. Pager color. Oh, selected row. Here it is. Here's what I was looking for. So let's add, what do we want? So we want that same orange color, but with a different opacity. So let's just paste in to RGB. Just paste in the color. Or actually, you could probably remove this. Let me convert this to RGB since that's the format I'm already using. And then go back here and change this and leave the alpha value here, so 45%. And then if I go here, merge, save, go to my session, you'll see that the selected color is now orange. Okay, the last thing I want to, well, some of the last things, I want to change this little pill color. So let me go to its pager color, no, pager active color. Okay, I want to set this to, you may be bored of this. I'm kind of even boring myself. So let me save this pager active to this color. Hit save. There we go. And I don't know why this color didn't change. pager, pager color. This is the bottom. Pager active color should have been the purple dot. Okay, maybe I need to merge again. It's kind of funky, I found, when you're editing the custom CSS, and you can see that there it is. Sometimes you need to close the view, sometimes you don't. I don't know. I don't like inconsistencies like that, but it is what it is. Okay, and then on our medium-sized and smaller screens, I want to change this purple color to maybe, let's do this dark color here. This will be the last thing we do. Okay, and let me look for table MD. So medium, this is the breakpoint text color is purple. So let me change this to this beautiful color. Merge, save, go back here. Oh, okay, it is being colored blue, but you just can't tell because there's not enough text there. You can also make these bold, do whatever else you want. Okay, let's do that, I guess. I suppose a few changes I wanted to implement right away, but I thought would be useful for this video at this exact point would be to add more padding top and bottom, and just to show you how I would do it, and to also increase the boldness of the column header text here. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's do the column header text boldness first. So I know that it's on the medium breakpoint. So here we have a breakpoint on medium-sized screens at a certain pixel, 560 something pixels, I believe. 576 pixels. We're going to change the way our table looks like. So I know it's going to be in the bottom section here. I have a media query. I'm looking at max width. And so in this area here, let me just add a statement text weight bold. If this doesn't work, we can try something else. Let's see. I'm actually surprised I haven't tested this out beforehand. So let's save that and go back here and refresh, and we have nothing. Or not text weight. It should be font weight. That's why, possibly. So let me just do everything I know that usually works, and then go back to my session, and there we go. So you may want this just so your header values are differentiated from your actual table values. So this already looks better in my opinion. And then the last thing I want to do is add more padding on the top and bottom of each of these rows. So let's actually, let me actually show you how I even worked on this table in the first place. I would use this select element tool, and then try to just select the element that I get as close to the element that I have in mind as I can. I'll show you. I'm trying to select this entire row here, so you can see I'm hovering, and it's showing you what I'm hovering over. So we can try adding padding top and bottom here. So this is inline. All of this goes away once you close the browser. So we can do padding here. So for example, 10 pixels and then 0. So 10 pixels top and bottom and 0. So it looks like it's doing what I want it to. And then to determine which class to add it to, I just look here. It looks like IA table body row. I'm going to add padding. So I go back to my CSS file here, and IA table padding row. It doesn't look like I have a definition for it here. So let me show you how to add custom CSS here and kind of explain what I'm doing. So the first thing we want to do is to add the modern table. If you remember, this is the CSS class we added to our table. This is the prefix that is appended by the gateway. You don't add this, you only add modern table like we added. So here on our table, we have class modern table, which corresponds to this here, modern table. So the reason why we add this first is because we want to only style these IA, so I forgot what it was already, IA table body row. We only want to style those elements that are a child, a descendant, table body row. We only want to style table body rows. We only want to style elements that have the class of IA table body row that is also a descendant of PS modern table. Because think about it, if we took this part out here and just styled these, this would style your padding for the row on every single table you have that's using this theme, at least. So that's using the light theme. But now that we add our PSC modern table, this prefix, it's only going to it's only going to style these elements that have this class here. That's also not a direct descendant, but a descendant of the modern table. So this does exactly what we want. And then we want to add padding, 10px top and bottom, and then 0 left and right. So let's go ahead and save that. I don't want to bore you to death with these details, but that's the last thing. This is the last thing I want to cover. So let's go ahead and refresh. Let me hit my breakpoint, and you can see that I have the 10 pixels of padding top and bottom. Okay, so this is actually a bug that I didn't foresee. But let me show you how you would troubleshoot this. I only have a few more minutes before my video camera turns off. Okay, so let me select this element here once again. I found that this happened pretty often. So let me remove the padding here. This is my style. I'm going to remove this padding, and I'm going to add it above here. So this is, sometimes you have to play around with at which level you want to add your padding to, or your styles to, I should have said. So we can see that instead of IA table body row, we have IA table body row group. So maybe we want to add it here at this level, and you don't really know because you don't have access to the markup unless you work at inductive automation. In that case, you do. But if we add padding here, okay, we can see that it still doesn't add the correct coloring. So this is an issue I don't really want to go into. I didn't foresee this happening, but it's something I can easily fix. I just need some more time. But actually, I'll leave that as a homework assignment to you. Hopefully this was helpful. Like I said, if you're new, if this is the first video you've seen of mine, hopefully you stick around and find other useful information, or useful information to begin with. This channel and this entire community is something that is community driven. We all want to help each other and learn from each other. So you're welcome to stick around. I hope you learned something useful. And if you have any questions about this resource on Exchange or any other questions, you can either leave a comment below this video or join our Discord server, the coolest Discord server, and ask your questions there. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.